Babe, wake up. We just have a new blog post from Meet Your Maker. Now, guys, I wasn't planning on covering a lot of this stuff because I'm still super new to the game. But with tomorrow's video coming out, as well as kind of my overall excitement with Meet Your Maker, I figured why not cover this and talk about it and kind of give you guys my new player perspective coming into this game on everything that's going on. Now, a little bit of that will be touched in tomorrow's video and kind of talking about that. Today's video is just kind of going over the blog post. This brings me back to my Avengers days and all the fun stuff with that. So I'm going to go over it, give you guys my thoughts from a new player perspective, and hopefully some of you guys would like to give me your perspective from a more veteran lookout, and we'll just kind of go from there and see how it all kind of shapes up, right? So let's go with Meet Your Maker Shattered Peak lore. The world of Meet Your Maker expands yet again, introducing a new environment, custodian guard, and deco packs with their own histories and horrors to discover. In the desolate northern wasteland lies the Shattered Peak Sanctuary. Once a bastion of science and technology, its residents turn on one another, using their own deadly creations to tear the sanctuary apart from within. I actually do like the lore of the world and the way they've kind of like everything to do with the world has this like kind of rustic look, I guess, and it is kind of cool. So one of the coolest things that I think, just from a visual perspective, is the way they've kind of built everything, right? So they go on to say, deep in the vast and unforgiving Arctic wastelands lies the Shattered Peak Sanctuary. Home to the brightest scientific minds, the facility pioneered bleeding-edge innovations in tech and cloning. Notes from its staff suggest that a damaged containment unit led to the contaminated Genmat being administered to advisors. Within days, the sanctuary's advisors succumbed to paranoia and hallucinations. Proda spoke to the voice of her deceased father, while Alpida claimed that the shadows were colluding against them. An attempt to administer fresh Genmat sparked a violent reaction, leading the advisors to kill their custodian. As it began to turn on one another and the violence grew, staff barricaded themselves in different parts of the sanctuary. Scientists were captured and forced to create equipment, guards, and squadrons of fighting clones, fueling aimless battles that raged for days. In the end, only one Krona clone remained, armed with a powerful custodian suit. With Shattered Peak now a blood-spattered nightmare, the advisor left, setting off wherever her fractured mind took her. That's cool lore. I like that. I don't know a lot about the lore and the story, so a lot of you guys may be able to kind of give me more information about that. But from everything that I've seen, it does seem like a very cool world that they're building. So here's what we got. This is basically the big overview of everything here. Obviously, this is the new guard, the assassin, which they showed off in the stream today, which was very cool. Definitely for someone like me who's a new player, this is going to be a lot to take on, I think. There's obviously times now where certain guards will get me kind of, I guess, unsuspectingly. And an assassin who's invisible can kind of get you from almost anywhere, it seems like. Should be pretty cool. We got 2 new blocks here available in 3 shapes. These look pretty cool. I mean, I like that they've basically changed the color palette up from like this very rustic red to now this very Arctic tundra look. I think the difference between the two is going to be really good for players who are, I guess, like builders can appreciate that as well. But at least for me as like a primarily a raider person, I think obviously going from like the rustic red and a lot of that stuff to now like the blues will be a very nice change. So I do appreciate that they did that. I would like to see them go to like a jungle look next. So like very much like dark greens and kind of that whole kind of feel of like the jungle. And it doesn't have to be like all sorts of like trees or whatever stuff like that, but even just like just give me some more color, give me some more environments, give me some more things that are visually appeasing, because one of the things, like I said, that they do really well is the visual appeasement of what I see in the game, right? So we got 3 new props as well. Obviously, one of the ones they were super happy to show off was the ice with the skulls in it, which was really cool. So I like those. And then we got some decals here. Looks like 8 of them. And that looks pretty cool. And then the new custodian, the overseer. This is super cool. I really like the kind of the designs of the custodians. This one with the box head is probably one of the more interesting ones. So for me, definitely going to be a buy. Definitely going to buy this. I've heard before that in Sector 1, you're able to get stuff like right when things were dropped. So if I'm able to do that and not have to pay real money, cool. If I do have to pay real money, no big deal. This is, I think, worth the price of admission, at least that skin. They go on to say a Chroma clone from Shattered Peak, she, along with the rest of the advisors, succumbed to paranoid visions after being administered contaminated Genmat. Caught in the midst of battle within the sanctuary, she captured the sanctuary's prototype for Tal's suit, giving her gliding abilities and considerable power. As Overseer's mind continued to succumb to delusion, she permanently fused blank biolinks between her nervous system and the suit. The link augmented her paranoia, giving her increased detection of the environment and resources around her. Footage showed Overseer equipped in her suit fighting through enemy assassins and advisors. Once victorious, Overseer's battle continued eternally as she left the safety of the sanctuary for the frigid cold of the wasteland. Overseer was occasionally seen by the Arctic tribes gliding between settlements. Her behavior grew more erratic, just as likely to peacefully trade for supplies as she was to open fire without cause. She was later found dying in the snow as the permanently fused biolinks degraded what was left of her mind. I kind of like how they tie in their gameplay enhancements with kind of the lore. Obviously, for people who don't know, gliding is now going to be a perk in the game. So obviously, kind of tying that in with the lore and everything going on there is a really cool link between the practical and I want to say the theoretical, right? But obviously, that's not the best kind of description. But you guys get what I'm saying there. So let's go into the Overseer gameplay features. Jump and glide. Coupled with the Overseer's suit, the Slipstream Biolink allows you to slowly glide after jumping, avoiding danger while still being able to attack or defend. Super cool. As a new player, I always find myself feeling like gliding would be a natural evolution of the game mechanics. So for me, definitely going to tinker with this. Now, a lot of the time, what I'm finding in the levels is that they're all very tight together, right? Like they're all the 1x1 hallways. So there have been times where gliding would be super useful, you know, obviously in those big rooms that are like those kill boxes or skill boxes. But a lot of the time what I'm finding is, at least in Brutal, which is where I'm playing, they're not really a lot of open areas to glide, right? Maybe at the start, but I had to play around with that and see what gliding could do. But for a lot of the levels I'm playing right now, just not really as fun as it is, as cool as the ability is. I just don't know practically how that's going to benefit me with a lot of these kind of raids that I'm doing. So let's go into Visible Harvester Path. Augmenting the Overseer's hallucinations, the Pathfinder Biolink reveals the Harvester Path, ensuring raiders will never be lost in Outpost again. Now, this is one of those cool ones for me that I can see me using a lot of the time as I get used to the game. There's a lot of puzzle ones, and those puzzle ones don't really leave a lot of room for kind of trying to figure things out. You kind of get lost very quickly in a lot of the puzzle ones. And I remember one very recently that I played that I just could not figure out for the life of me. There was no explanation that I could find. Now, obviously, there is an explanation. There is something I was missing. But a perk like this obviously will help me kind of navigate those puzzle ones a lot easier. But I can see on the flip side how this could kind of make the builders kind of not so happy. So it definitely is a give and take. For a new player like me, definitely is a benefit. For builders and maybe some of the older players, maybe not the most useful perk to introduce to the game. So kind of have to see how that one goes, but definitely something I'm going to use at the start when it comes out. All right, so let's talk about Scout the Environment. The Scavenger Biolink helps raiders spot the location of the Forsaken Tombs and other resources by highlighting them throughout the environment. Yeah, I mean, this is cool. I guess this could definitely be useful for certain players. Not something I'm going to definitely use. A lot of the time, my main goal is to kind of beat the raid itself, to beat the level. So I kind of want to just get that gen mat and get out and just kind of do that. For a lot of people who want to kind of 100% every single raid that they go into, definitely 100% going to be a useful perk. But for someone like me, at this point in time, not necessarily, but still can't disregard that there are going to be people who are going to use that perk for sure. So let's talk about the Assassin, a relentless hunter that relies on stealth to ambush its target. Based on the nightmarish delusions of a psychologically damaged metamorph clone, it was brought to life by a captured scientist forced to do the advisor's bidding during the Battle of Shattered Peak. Its skeletal frame increases its stealth movement, while its cybernetic implants allowed to endure drops from any height. That's the thing too, that you can drop this from any height, builders, and this thing will survive. So feel free to kind of get creative with that. One of the things I really want to see is how people are going to be using this assassin. I think this is probably one of the coolest additions in a guard, but it's also one of the scariest ones for me because I know it's going to kill me. But I can't wait to see what you guys do with it, because I think this is like a really cool addition, and I really think it'll change up a little bit of like what to look out for. Obviously now coming into the game, I've been playing a week. I kind of have an understanding of where some things might be. But an assassin that's invisible, you can almost put them anywhere, right? So I think that's going to be really cool and kind of scary, not going to lie to you guys. The Assassin State of Art stealth field is loosely based on holocube technology, featuring similar limitation. When the guard launches its attack, the system and the tech connected to it become overstimulated, resulting in a temporary shutdown. Even with a brief window of visibility, it's often too late to escape its deadly blade. Ooh. Then they go on to say the assassin gameplay features Stealth Master. The assassin remains nearly imperceptible until they unleash their devastating attack. Raiders will have to pay close attention to the visual distortion and sounds generated by the guard's movement. No fall damage. Builders can get creative as this guard is not affected by fall damage, meaning they can drop from any height to kill unsuspecting raiders. 100%. A punishing dash attack. When attacking, the assassin performs a medium range horizontal slash attack that's difficult to avoid. Harness the very creations that tore the sanctuary apart. The Sector 2 Arsenal Pack adds both the Overseer and the Assassin to your deadly toolbox. Build and raid with these new additions when Sector 2 Shatter Peak launches on September 26, which is in 5 days, guys. So, honestly, from everything that I've read, from everything that I've seen in the dev stream today, it feels like Meet Your Maker is now kind of at a point in time where I said this on Twitter, but there's no regret buying this game, right? Like, you know how sometimes you buy a game and there could be a little bit of regret, whether it's from the content cadence or you just don't really feel as connected to the game as you just would have thought. I don't feel like that at all with this game. I think this game is really solid in the foundations of it. Now it's just kind of like fleshing it out, right? It's kind of when you have like a perfect story and you start building that foundation of the story, the world, the environment, things that are happening. And then you start adding your characters, you start adding your quests, you start adding everything going on. And this is exactly where I think Meet Your Maker is. Now that they've had the foundation down and they have this really cool foundation of what's happening, now it's time to start fleshing it out, adding things that are going to make the game really cool. And a lot of that was talked about in the dev stream today, right? With the changes to the UI, to the world map, expeditions, enhancements, right? There is so much that is going to be changing over the next couple of months with this game that I feel like we're honestly off to a good start here. And hopefully the momentum keeps going and we keep seeing this game kind of grow and evolve. So with that being said, guys, that is all I have for you today. That is how I feel about Meet Your Maker. Hopefully you guys feel the same and hopefully you guys are excited. I'm going to be starting a little bit of a video series, guys, just kind of a small little thing. We're going to be doing a Meet Your Maker kind of raid every couple of days, and we're just going to talk and hang out. So if you guys are interested in that, nothing crazy, nothing spectacular, but it'll be a good way for me to kind of get better at the game, right? Which is always something I need to do. So if you guys want more of that, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a nice little comment, and I'll see you guys the next time here in the channel. Enjoy the rest of your day and the night. Take care of yourselves. Later, guys.